Hello, I'm Zoe from TUCU Managed IT Services Inc. And in this video, I'm going to go over some of the benefits and differences between two excellent remote work solutions for small business. And that is a comparison between Microsoft Intune paired with AutoPilot versus Windows Virtual Desktop. But before we get into it, I have two quick side notes. One is about Google Cloud Services and the other is about using a VPN. So right now, if you're using G Suite or Google Workplace, you may have noticed that they have introduced identity access management and device management features for computers and laptops instead of just mobile devices like they did in the past. And that's great. However, the offering is not as mature or robust as we would like, and so you may need more. In fact, for all of our small business customers, we do recommend more. One way that you can achieve a stronger cybersecurity posture if you are using G Suite or Google Workplace is to pair it with Microsoft's subscription. It's the Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security E3 subscription. So when you pair that with your Google Cloud subscriptions, it's going to give you a lot more cybersecurity tools, policies, things that you can use to protect your data and protect your business. So that's side note number one. Side note number two is about using a VPN. If you're currently using a VPN in your small business, you may want to reconsider. A VPN can be an excellent and very secure solution in some instances. For example, it can be excellent for a corporate infrastructure and accessing that corporate infrastructure, or for your own personal use. However, VPNs are often set up incorrectly, for lack of a better term, in small and medium business environments, and they can give a false sense of security where in fact there is no security at all. So it's really important to not just look at the tunnel that is being used, but also to look at the permissions that the endpoint has. So that's the computer that's connecting to the tunnel that is connecting to your data. So without getting too technical, if you're using a VPN for your small or medium business right now, we do urge you to take a look at another blog post that we have about that topic that goes into it a little bit more. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out. We'll be happy to review that with you. So two side notes aside, now let's get into it. And this is just a brief overview. We're not getting super technical into anything. I'm an administrative contact, not a technical contact here at TUCU. So this is very easy to follow along with. So we're going to dive in and explore two remote work solutions of Microsoft Intune and AutoPilot versus Windows Virtual Desktop. Let's take a look. Okay, so here we are. So first things first, both of these options provide secure remote work solutions. Intune and AutoPilot are technologies that can supplement a traditional network or a remote team. So, if you have a typical small or medium business with a server in a small office, these are tools that you can definitely use and apply pretty easily over top your traditional infrastructure that is in place right now. Windows Virtual Desktop, on the other hand, is a cloud-first solution using cloud infrastructure as a service. So basically, you don't need any local infrastructure at all. And so this can be really great for retiring an aging server, just getting your company out of that 3 to 5 year upgrade cycle for all of your computers. And also just supporting a 100% remote team. So really your team can work from anywhere in the world. And that includes full-time employees or people that you may be outsourcing to. This gives you a very secure solution to work with. So let's get into it. Briefly, as I just mentioned, in terms of security and controls, one is very good for company-owned computers. It is a little bit limited if you're allowing employee-owned devices to connect to your company data. So if that is the case, and you want to stick with your server and how things are now, that's fine. Just important to know what the limitations are and to use the tools, the Intune and AutoPilot tools, to the maximum to really help protect your business. And as I mentioned earlier, alternatively, the Windows Virtual Desktop is excellent whether you're using company-owned computers or employee-owned computers. So you have, maximum security regardless of your infrastructure setup there. And in terms of data protection and compliance, both options do offer all tools, policies, and processes required to protect your company data or to meet any compliance needs that you might have. So your compliance needs might include something like PIPEDA or HIPAA compliance or SOC2 compliance. It all depends on what industry you work in and what regulatory compliance you may have to meet. Aside from compliance requirements, just your own data security and reducing your risk and liability is very important given today's cyber threat landscape. So both options provide powerful tools to help you meet these requirements. One is considered a minimum best practice solution and suitable for small and medium business, and the other is considered a gold standard solution and it's suitable for business of any size at all. And again, we've already touched on this. In terms of new staff setup, the company would purchase a computer and it can be purchased pre-configured using Microsoft AutoPilot settings. So basically your IT provider would configure your AutoPilot settings with your company rules and permissions in terms of cybersecurity, and they just enter your AutoPilot ID, or you can enter your AutoPilot ID when you are ordering new computers from reputable vendors such as Dell or HP or Lenovo, and the manufacturer will ship that computer pre-configured according to your IT provider's security settings directly to your office or to your remote employee. And that's fantastic because it really makes it easy for you to safely and securely set up new employees. In terms of the Windows Virtual Desktop, you actually don't need to purchase any computers at all. Everything is virtualized. So all you would need to do is set up a new virtual machine for an employee, and it will already be, again, pre-configured with all of your standard security settings and applications required to work and so on and so forth. And it's really just a couple of clicks of a few buttons within your managed virtual environment. So that's just some differences to note there. And I would say that another key difference here is how long it takes to set up a new computer. So in this scenario, you need to order it, you need to wait for it to be shipped. Once it's received, it needs to be unboxed, and a couple of clicks of a button and you're all set up. Versus the virtual, you can literally call into your IT provider and say, I have somebody starting this afternoon, can you spin up a virtual machine? And it will be done. So that's important to note because your company may be fine with one option over another, and it's entirely up to how your business works and what you are comfortable with. Now, when it comes to staff changeover, if you're using Intune and AutoPilot, again, some downtime needs to be scheduled. So just like if you're ordering a new computer, you have to order in advance and allow the time for the shipping. And if you're wiping and reloading a computer in between employees or just resetting security settings, you do need to schedule that time, and it can take 3 to 4 hours, and the employee will be unable to use the computer during that time. So that's important to note. In the Windows Virtual Desktop environment, again, this is something that's just eliminated. You spin down a virtual machine and you can spin up a brand new virtual machine in just a couple of moments. Each virtual machine does have a cost. We'll get into that a little bit later, but it's comparable to having a new computer for each employee as well. Okay, so in terms of disaster recovery, both solutions have the option available. With Windows, Intune and AutoPilot, or a traditional infrastructure, especially if that includes a server, you do have to build out the disaster recovery option, and recovery is not instant, especially if the failure requires new hardware. So if there's a fire or a flood or a power strike that damaged hard drives, and that's what caused the data loss event or the disaster event, you do need to allow time to purchase new hardware, have that shipped, and then begin the disaster recovery process. Again, versus the virtualized environment where everything is near instantaneous. So again, depending on your business and your downtime tolerance, you can discuss with your IT partner what works better for you. On to scaling for growth. So again, we've already covered it. If you are in a more traditional, smaller, medium business industry and you're scaling at a slower pace and you have staff turnover a few times a year, then Intune and AutoPilot might be a fantastic solution for you. If you're in a rapidly growing industry or business or startup, so we've worked with several companies where they're just starting up with 5 or 10 employees and planning on scaling to 30 to 50 employees over the next 6 months. And so in those instances, a fully virtualized environment might make more sense. Again, it's up to you to decide what is going to suit your business better and have the discussion with your IT partner so you understand the ins and outs and can make a great decision. In terms of infrastructure cost and ongoing maintenance costs, the Windows virtual desktop has a heavier cloud cost, but no hardware costs. And the more traditional obviously has no or low cloud costs and a higher ongoing hardware cost. So if you want to get into specific numbers, definitely just reach out to us. We're happy to schedule a free consultation to give you an estimate and a quote for your specific scenario. What is most important to remember with both of these solutions, especially in terms of security or data recovery, is you need to have proper systems in place that will protect you in the event of some kind of cyber event or data loss event before it happens. Otherwise, the risks include, irreplaceable data loss, data theft, including internal data theft, liability risks, compliance and audit and penalty risks, and of course, virus and ransomware infections, which can shut down your business for many weeks at a time and have a very large price tag to recover from. And since ransomware infections have spiked over 700% in just one quarter in 2020 versus 2019, the year before, it's really important to sit down and have a conversation about your cybersecurity and your data backups and disaster recovery systems, because every small and medium business needs to be prioritizing these things given the current landscape. So remember, prevention is key to cybersecurity, and we are small and medium business IT experts serving Toronto and Durham region and surrounding areas since 2003. So I welcome you to reach out to us to have a discussion about your needs or any questions that you may have about what we've covered in this video today. Thank you very much for listening. Have a wonderful day.